Excuse this, but I just wanted to take a minute before this video starts to make a note related to the current protests over George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement, because I went back and forth about whether or not to post this video for a long time because I didn't want to post content that will enable people to ignore what's going on in the world. If that was your goal, too bad. I'm talking about it now. But one of my favorite YouTubers put this really well when she said that fighting for anything requires taking breaks and spending time outside of that space to recharge and care for yourself. So I'm posting this in the hopes that whoever's watching this video is using it for that. So it's here for you when you need it, and enjoy. Hi there, Juliana here, and today I'll be doing a comprehensive guide on how to learn calligraphy. I wanted this to be accessible to absolutely everyone, especially since I started to learn calligraphy using a crayola marker. So above on the screen are all the options for writing implements you can use to get started on calligraphy, and I'll be demonstrating all of them in this video. So let's start at the beginning. The most basic concept of calligraphy is that when you're moving your pen up on the page, you lessen the pressure, and when you're moving it down on the page, you apply more pressure. Also important is the angle of your hand. I like to keep my hand at like a maybe 70-degree angle. That way, no matter what writing implement you're using, you can use the side of the tip to get that thick downward stroke. If you're using a pen, draw a line to the right of where the downward stroke would be and color it in. And these two motions are the best to practice because they're the most common motions you'll be doing when you're making actual letters. After you get comfortable with those basic up and down motions, then you can move on to practicing the letters of the alphabet. Now, the calligraphy alphabet, I guess, is essentially just the cursive alphabet, but with pressure applied where all the downstrokes are. This is how I stylize each of the letters, so feel free to use this as a guide and change around any of the letters to look the way you want. But here I'm demonstrating all the letters for you because what I found most helpful when I was learning calligraphy was being able to look at someone else's letters and copy those. And the more you do it, the more natural that rhythm of upward and downward pressure will feel. If you look, you can see that I still struggle with K's, B's, and P's. But I will link a picture of my alphabet that I wrote here for you down in the description so that you can use it as a reference and a guide for your own lettering. I used my Tombow Fudenosuke pen to demonstrate this close-up because I think it's the best for being able to see the amount of pressure I'm applying, but you can do all of this with a crayola marker. So here's me doing it with a crayola marker, and honestly, I kind of like how this looks better than the Fudenosuke sometimes. It's just a little less delicate. The biggest advantage here is that it's a cheap way to get started before you commit to buying more expensive calligraphy markers. And the crayola markers are very forgiving, so if you apply too much pressure and you ruin one, then you can get another one super easily. And now practice. Once you've gone over the alphabet, you can start writing words, obviously. There's a great example of me being very indecisive on what type of B I want to use. But regardless, just choose a bunch of words you like and draw them and learn how to connect the letters. And you'll get used to it, it'll get easier, it'll start looking good after a lot of practice. Yes. On the screen is my recommendation for a phrase to practice, but you can also go for "The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog," which has every single letter in the alphabet. Moving on to the pen, I personally dislike the pen the most. It's my least favorite method of doing calligraphy because it takes so much time and ends up looking messy, but here's me demonstrating that if maybe you don't have a calligraphy marker and you need to do a little bit smaller calligraphy. Then I move on to my Tombow Fudenosuke, which is my favorite marker. And if you are moving on to wanting to buy a calligraphy marker, this is definitely the first one I recommend because it makes a smaller line than this marker that you see me using now, which is a Tombow dual brush pen and is kind of easier to manipulate at first. I can't tell you how many pages upon pages I filled with calligraphy when I was first learning, y'all. And that's it. You're good to go. It's that easy. It'll look bad at first, but I promise it will start looking better and you'll get used to it. Some bonus tips to make you look even more professional. Try varying the height of your letters. So if you have two of the same letter next to each other, make one taller or shorter than the one next to it. And there are a few letters that, as a rule, I generally like to drop the tail end of. So those are letters like H, L, T, M, and N. And in addition, if I am drawing an M or an N, I'll make the second hump of the letter bigger than the first, just to add variation, style, professionalism. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something. Comment down below if you're thinking of starting to learn calligraphy. Give me updates, tell me how it's going, and good luck. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.